The journey of redemption, the story of Kemi. The scent of burning firewood filled the air as Kemi scrubbed the last of the dirty plates in the backyard. Her hands, roughened by endless chores, trembled with exhaustion. The evening breeze did little to soothe the hunger gnawing at her stomach. She could hear laughter from the dining room, Tun's family enjoying a lavish dinner, while she, once again, remained in the shadows, forgotten. Life had not always been this way. There was a time when she had parents who loved her, a time when she had dreams that felt within reach. But all of that was snatched away in the blink of an eye, the screech of tires, the shattering of glass, and then silence. Orphaned and alone, she was sent to live with her uncle's family, where she had hoped to find warmth and acceptance. Instead, she became nothing more than a maid in a house that should have been her home. But Kemi was not one to be broken. Beneath the weight of suffering, a fire burned within her, a fire that would one day light the path to her redemption. This is her story. A story of pain, perseverance, and the triumph of a spirit that refused to be crushed. Watch and enjoy as we dive into the full story. Why do you treat me so badly, as if I am a slave? Kemi's voice broke through the kitchen, her words trembling with raw anguish as she confronted her cousin Tunde. The cramped dining hall, dimly lit by a single flickering lamp, suddenly felt suffocating, filled with memories of neglect, bitter insults, and the constant reminder of a life unchosen. Kemi's eyes, rimmed with tears, met Tun's guarded gaze. "I'm not happy," she continued, her voice a mix of despair and fierce detonation. "Everyone eats 3 square meals, but I get just 1. I'm doing all the work in this house, and I'm treated like a servant in my own family. Or could it be because I am just your cousin and you're not blood sister?" A heavy silence followed, punctuated only by the distant ticking of the old wall clock. Town's face embalmed in despair and conflict, his heart torn between family loyalty and the undeniable truth in Kemi's words, bothered with an emotion he refused to acknowledge. A haunting past. Kemi's life had never been easy. As a child, she had known only love and laughter until that fateful day when her world was shattered. A horrific road accident took both her parents away, leaving her alone and vulnerable. With nowhere else to go, she was taken in by the Tunde family, a family known for its wealth, influence, and an unyielding sense of entitlement. But with this new life came bitter sacrifices. From the moment she stepped through the grand doors of the Tunde household, Kemi had felt the sting of rejection. Although she was family by blood, her loss made her an outsider. The lavish halls echoed with laughter and merriment meant for Tunde and his siblings, while Kemi was relegated to the dark corners of service. Each day, as she scrubbed floors and prepared meager meals, memories of her parents' love and the warmth of home whispered in her heart, urging her to keep dreaming despite the cruelty that surrounded her. In the quiet hours of the night, after everyone else had gone to sleep, Kemi would retreat to a small, hidden corner of the house. There, under the faint glow of a borrowed lantern, she would pore over old textbooks salvaged from a discarded charity bin. Medicine was her passion, a field where she envisioned healing, hope, and redemption. Yet, each turn of the page was a bittersweet reminder of the dream that seemed forever out of reach. Kemi was often denied access to the kitchen even though she did all the cooking. She was instructed to always submit the key. Sometimes she would feel really hungry at night, but no food to eat. This continued for a while, until Kemi resorted to eating crumbs and dog food so she could survive the intense midnight hunger. Tun's mother was really wicked and harsh towards her. Kemi me you. How many times have I called you so? Oh, you wake up and prepare me vegetable soap and starch. This was around 11 p.m. late night while all her children were sleeping. The family divide. Within the household, the disparities were glaring. Tunde, with his gentle nature and modest ambition, had the full support of his parents and extended relatives. His path to studying medicine was paved with encouragement, resources, and unwavering belief. Kemi, on the other hand, was cast aside, her potential dismissed because of the tragic circumstances of her birth. Her every success was met with a haughty glance or a dismissive shrug, a daily reminder that she was less than the others. The harshness of her situation was not without its few bright spots. Tunde's younger sister, Grace, possessed a kindness that defied the family's cold indifference. In secret, she would slip extra portions of meat or hide morsels of fish away for Kemi, careful to ensure that these small acts of compassion remained unseen by the rest of the household. "You deserve more than this," Grace whispered during their rare, stolen moments, her eyes shining with empathy. Their whispered conversations in the quiet corridors of the house became Kemi's sanctuary, a place where she dared to hope. Yet, even Grace's kindness was a threat to Tun's rigid view of order. Tunde, though gentle in his own right, couldn't understand the bond between his sister and the cousin he saw as a constant reminder of his family's otherness. His disapproval was subtle but palpable, a cold shoulder here, a clipped word there, until the rift between them seemed too wide to bridge. Dreams deferred and the breaking point. Both Kemi and Tunde harbored the dream of becoming doctors. In their shared moments beneath starlit skies and quiet whispers of hope, they spoke of healing the world. Tun's path, enhanced by family support, seemed assured, until the devastating day of the JAM examination. Despite his best efforts, Tunde fell short of the cut-off mark needed to secure admission into the prestigious medical school he had dreamed of attending. His failure sent ripples through the household, a source of shame and a pivot in the balance of power. For Tunde, the disappointment was a heavy burden. For Kemi, it confirmed what she had long suspected, that the world she lived in was stacked against her. The privileges that others enjoyed, the extra food, the encouragement, the gentle words, were withheld from her with a ruthless precision. Every demeaning remark, every act of blatant neglect chipped away at her spirit. There were days when the humiliation was unbearable. In front of the entire family, she was ridiculed for her inability to keep up with the household chores or for making a minor mistake. A simple maid you are, someone would sneer, as if her intelligence and dreams were nothing more than a mirage. In the dark recesses of her mind, Kemi would often question, was I ever truly worthy of a better life? The tension reached a boiling point one bitter winter evening. The house was unusually cold, not just from the draft seeping through the old windows, but from the chill of unspoken resentments. After a particularly harsh scolding over a spilled dish, Kemi's resolve shattered. Unable to bear the relentless abuse any longer, she fled into the stormy night, leaving behind the only home she had ever known, a place of torment disguised as family. A new beginning amid hardship, Kemi's journey into the unknown was met with uncertainty. She ran and left the house to a motherless care home. She found refuge in an orphanage, a modest haven where the scars of the past were met with gentle understanding. Here, amid others who had faced similar heartaches, she discovered the first flicker of hope. In the quiet corridors of the orphanage, where the laughter of children mingled with whispered tales of survival, Kemi began to heal. But the road was not easy. Every day was a battle against her own self-doubt and the haunting memories of her mistreatment. Studying became both an escape and a fight, a means to reclaim the future that had been stolen from her. Despite the challenges, Kemi applied herself with a determination born of desperation. With each book she devoured and every lesson she learned, the dream of becoming a doctor grew stronger. In the face of adversity, the orphanage became her sanctuary. The caregivers, though overburdened, recognized the fire in her eyes and the brilliance that lay beneath the layers of hurt. They rallied around her, helping her secure a scholarship that would pave the way to formal education. The once quiet girl, whose voice had trembled with sorrow, now spoke with a conviction that could move mountains. I will heal others, she vowed during long nights of study, her monologue a blend of sorrow, hope, and unyielding determination. The diverging paths, time, relentless and impartial, continued its march. Tunde, having been granted admission to a private medical school, found his own path twisting into unexpected directions. Though initially buoyed by the support of his influential family, the rigors of medical school proved overwhelming. His struggles in the demanding environment eventually led to him dropping out, a bitter irony for a boy who once dreamed of healing the world. In the corridors of his now empty lecture halls, Tunde was left to grapple with the weight of his failure and the loss of the support that had once buoyed his aspirations. Kemi, on the other hand, emerged from the orphanage as a force of nature. With every exam passed and every sleepless night dedicated to her studies, she gained a scholarship to study medicine. She honed her skills and studied hard until she finally graduated, then she received the mantle of a doctor. When the day came that she graduated, the modest halls of the orphanage echoed with pride and triumph. In a bittersweet twist of fate, the very family that had once demeaned her had long since forgotten her existence. Their neglect had inadvertently set her on the path to greatness. The fateful reunion. A decade had passed since Kemi had left the oppressive confines of the Tunde household. Dr. Kemi had since become known for her compassionate care and unwavering dedication. But fate, it seemed, was not yet done weaving its intricate tapestry. One crisp autumn day, an emergency call shattered the calm of the hospital where Dr. Kemi worked. "Hello, doctor, there's an emergency. A patient has been brought in with renal failure and requires immediate dialysis and life support," a nurse urgently informed her over the intercom. With practiced calm, Dr. Kemi hurried to the ward, her mind already churning through protocols. Yet nothing in her training had prepared her for the sight that awaited her. In the dim light of the emergency ward lay Mrs. Janet, a woman whose very presence stirred up a storm of memories. Mrs. Janet, the cold and calculating wife of Kemi's uncle, had been one of the chief architects of her suffering. The sight of her, frail and vulnerable on the hospital bed, ignited a maelstrom of emotions within Dr. Kemi. As she approached, her heart pounded in her chest, a rapid reminder of the past she had long tried to bury. The monitors beeped steadily, marking the precarious balance between life and death. Dr. Kemi's professional training waged a silent war with the torrent of personal feelings threatening to overwhelm her. Before she could administer the necessary treatment, a familiar, frantic voice sliced through the tension. "Kemi, please, help me!" Grace's cry, filled with desperation and regret, reverberated down the corridor. The nurse glanced up, startled, as Grace emerged from the shadows, her face streaked with tears. "I can't, she stuttered, unable to finish the sentence, her eyes pleading for forgiveness and understanding. "Grace," Dr. Kemi murmured, her voice soft yet resolute, "I must save her life. I cannot." The conflict in her tone was palpable. Here was the woman who had tormented her for so long, now lying at death's door, and here was Grace, who had always shown her kindness, now desperate and remorseful. Grace fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm so sorry, Kemi. I never understood. I never saw how much pain I was part of," she wailed, reaching out with trembling hands. "Please, help her, help my mother." The irony was excruciating, a final, agonizing plea from someone who had once been the source of her only kindness. For a long, agonizing moment, Dr. Kemi's mind was a battlefield of duty and personal vendetta. The Hippocratic oath, the sacred promise to preserve life, clashed with the deep-seated wounds inflicted by Mrs. Janet in the family that had once disregarded her. In that heartbeat of indecision, her soul screamed in silence, questioning everything she had endured. The weight of compassion. In the sterile calm of the hospital, the tension hung like a heavy shroud. The ward was quiet except for the rhythmic beeping of machines and Grace's heart-wrenching cries. Dr. Kemi knelt by Mrs. Janet's side, her gloved hand steady despite the turmoil inside her. "I must do this," she whispered to herself, a mantra to guide her through the storm of emotion. Her colleagues exchanged anxious glances as she methodically prepared the dialysis machine. The nurse beside her asked, "Doctor, are you all right?" The simple question carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken stories. Dr. Kemi paused, her eyes flickering to the frail form of Mrs. Janet, and replied in a measured tone, "I am fine. This is my duty." Yet inside, every action was a battle against memories of humiliation and sorrow. As the procedure began, Grace's cries slowly gave way to quiet sobs. In the hushed conversation between nurse and doctor, the tension melted into a somber understanding. "It's remarkable," one nurse murmured softly, "how someone so strong can bear such a heavy heart." Dr. Kemi, eyes distant and reflective, could only nod, her mind a tumultuous sea of regret, forgiveness, and the realization that the path to healing was often paved with painful choices. During a brief lull in the procedure, Grace approached once more, her voice barely audible. "Kemi, I'm begging you, please forgive me," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I never meant for you to suffer. I only ever wanted to help, but I was too afraid of our family's wrath." Her confession was raw and unfiltered, laden with the remorse of years spent in silent guilt. Dr. Kemi met her gaze, and for a long moment, the two women stood suspended in a fragile truce. In that silent exchange, the echoes of past cruelty mingled with the promise of redemption. "Grace," Dr. Kemi said softly, "forgive me if it takes time. But know this, I have always strived to heal, not just bodies, but the broken parts of our hearts. I forgive you, but the wounds will take time to mend." Her words were both an absolution and a poignant reminder that forgiveness, though necessary, never erased the scars. A bittersweet victory. In the days that followed, Mrs. Janet's condition gradually stabilized under Dr. Kemi's relentless care. The hospital staff marveled at the transformation, a testament to a doctor who had risen above bitterness and pain to honor her commitment to life. Though Mrs. Janet's recovery was a fragile miracle, it symbolized something far greater: the triumph of compassion over cruelty. Word of Dr. Kemi's remarkable work spread quietly through the corridors of the hospital and beyond. Meanwhile, Tun's family, wrapped up in their own world of privilege and oblivion, made no effort to mend old ties. They never sought out Kemi. They had long since chosen the comfort of their own self-interest over the bonds of blood and empathy. For Drive, Kemi, the reunion with her past was a bittersweet reminder of the life she had left behind. In the quiet solitude of her office late one night, she penned a heartfelt monologue, a cathartic exercise in coming to terms with the complexities of forgiveness and the cost of resilience. I have walked through fire and emerged scarred, yet unbowed. The pain that once threatened to consume me has instead forged a strength I never knew I possessed. I carry the memory of every tear, every harsh word, as a silent testament to my journey. Though the ties of family have been severed by neglect and cruelty, I have found a new family in those who believe in hope and redemption. I will heal, not because I am expected to, but because I must, for myself, for those who still dare to dream. The end of a chapter, the dawn of a new day. In that quiet declaration, Dr. Kemi embraced the truth that her journey was far from over. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to heal and to grow. She understood that while the wounds inflicted by her past might never fully vanish, they had also shaped her into the compassionate healer she had become. And so, as the seasons turned and the hospital buzzed with life, Dr. Kemi continued to walk the fine line between duty and personal history. She saved lives with the precision of a skilled doctor, while her heart, though marked by old scars, learned to trust in the power of forgiveness. The memory of Mrs. Janet's cold neglect remained, a stark reminder of the cruelty of a world that often forgot the value of kindness. But it was now tempered by the knowledge that every life saved was a victory against the darkness of the past. In the end, Dr. Kemi's story was not just one of sorrow and injustice. It was the story of a young girl who, despite being treated as a mere servant in her own home, had fought against the tides of fate to become a beacon of hope. It was the story of Grace, whose tears had washed away years of regret, and of Tunde, a reminder that even in failure, there are lessons that shape the soul. Most of all, it was the story of redemption, a reminder that the human spirit, no matter how battered, can rise from the ashes to heal not only others, but itself. As the hospital lights dimmed and another day came to a close, Dr. Kemi looked out the window, her heart both heavy and hopeful. The scars of the past would always be there, but in every life she touched, and every soul she healed, lay the promise of a brighter tomorrow, a tomorrow where compassion triumphed over cruelty, and the unyielding heart of a once forgotten girl shone as a beacon for all.